$650 million to continue building that wall.
I pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border. Yes, I.
So they used to hate Donald Trump because he said he was going to build a wall, and now you're making fun of him because he didn't build the wall. But now you're saying you're recommitting to building the wall.
They all said, and I don't know if I have some incredible memory or something, but the liberal orthodoxy was that a wall is stupid.
Wall is stupid.
And I remember saying, I used to go, well, why can't you go to these companies, anybody hiring, and say, show me their papers, and then, instead of build that, I remember being like, okay, a wall seems like too expensive. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I thought like it's an easy thing to crack down on if you want to without a wall, right? Because he also said a wall doesn't stop anything. You know what really doesn't stop anything? No wall. So
let's listen.
So she's not. Yeah.
Here's the rest of her word salad. Watch this. I mean, even Anderson Cooper trying to give her a layup, she can't handle it.
And I'm going to work across the aisle to pass a comprehensive bill that deals with a broken immigration system. I think Jackson's question, part of it was to acknowledge that America has always had migration, but there needs to be a legal process for it.
Oh my
People
God.
have to earn it. And that's the point that I think is the most important point that can be made, which is we need a president who is grounded in common sense and practical outcomes. Like, let's just fix this thing. Let's just fix it. Why is there
You have been in the White House for almost 4 years. Why hasn't it gotten fixed? What do you mean, let's just fix it? Why? You've been the border czar. This is your failure. This is your 100% fail. Okay,
let's just fix. She goes, I'm going to try to work with Congress to pass a thing. That's like when they promise a tax rebate when you can't afford a home.
Let's just fix this problem that me and Joe Biden created.
Ideological perspective on it. Let's just fix the problem.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I am not afraid of good ideas where they occur.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything.
So now she's back to, he should have built the wall. And I'm making fun of him for not building the wall, which we all said was horrible and racist and stupid. So she just flip-flopped 3 times in one answer.
I would like to say, me thinking a wall is stupid, I was stupid because once you see the video of a bunch of people rushing over, not documented in any way, with no wall, then you realize, a wall would help some. A little bit it helps. I noticed like other events where they have a fence up, you can't just get in. Obviously, it would help.
I just talked about that wall, right? We just talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
Hey, remember how Israel built a wall and nobody said that was stupid?
He didn't do much of anything. Yeah, just ask the thousands and thousands of immigrants that he deported. Don't worry, they're all back, and this time with a line of credit. She said, I want to just strengthen our border. Translation, I'm into practical solutions. So I'm proposing we put up a huge corn maze where immigrants can eat while they freely cross our border. It's GMO corn, of course. You want to watch this from start to finish. Anybody, who is this convincing? Who is this flip-flopping, jumping jack, pretzel twisting, contradicting jackass answer convincing to vote for her?
Not Anderson Cooper.
Not even Anderson Cooper.
He's trying to give it to her. Anderson Cooper wanted to win.
Yeah, I know, of course.
Do you hear the frustration in his voice? Like, how do we screw this up this bad that this is who we got?
How have you not come up with an answer for this? How have you, that's what he's like, you don't have an answer for this?
I don't even understand the angle of this whole thing now because of how bad she's doing. What's the angle here? Do you want her to lose? What is the end game?
She tries making fun of Trump's border wall before getting fact-checked by Anderson Cooper. Harris started stuttering after Cooper asked her if she supports a border wall, since she's pro-border security now. Watch this.
Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on. They didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw is about 2%. And then when it came time for him to do a photo op, you know where he did it? In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
But you're agreeing to a bill that would earmark $650 million to continue building that wall.
I pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border. Yes, I am. And I'm going to work across the aisle to pass a comprehensive bill that deals with a broken immigration system. I think Jackson's question, part of it was to acknowledge that America has always had migration, but there needs to be a legal process for it. People have to earn it. And that's the point that I think is the most important point that can be made, which is we need a president who is grounded in common sense and practical outcomes. Like, let's just fix this thing. Let's just fix it.
What?
Why is there any ideological perspective on it? Let's just fix the problem.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I am not afraid of good ideas where they occurred.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense, because he actually didn't do much of anything. I just talked about that wall, right? We just talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
That is remarkable.
She ain't going to do Rogan.
She's not going to do Rogan.
He wants her on. The parameters are 45 minutes only.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah.
But
I think she probably already canceled, I think. I just saw like headline. Dude, how is she going to do Rogan when Anderson Cooper, E. Jean Carroll did a better interview with Anderson Cooper?
Anderson Cooper just unwittingly, against his own will, he just dismantled her.
He's like, look, I want to not know things too, but I just know. We literally just said a wall's stupid for the last how many decades?
Since 2016. So for 8 years, right? Yeah.
So by the way, if you had the same feelings about a wall that Trump did, then a wall would have happened. 600 million? That's nothing.
Right. So
That's all it would cost?
So you've been in the White House for 4 years. Why didn't you guys fix this problem that you created?
You could build it with money you seize from P. Diddy alone, with no need to dip into the Ukraine and Israel budget.
This is amazing. And
well, what disaster is going to happen now? Because what I'm seeing is even the biggest CIA shill pieces of State Department garbage can see it ain't working out. Just like when they cooed Biden after the debate, and they're like, okay, we can't hide how bad this is. This is deja vu watching this. This is like not even a debate.
It's still hilarious to me that I still have people who are voting for Harris saying, oh, those people on January 6th would run over you too. So the people that by the way, people with no guns. So that violence is bad, but the Black Lives Matter for a whole year, that was fine. That was fantastic.
Or how about the Democrats actually cooed the president that you're upset about January 6th?
So they're upset that the Republicans tried to coup Joe Biden, but they're not upset that Democrats cooed Joe Biden. They just threw out the primary, just threw it out.
After they fixed the primary to make sure it could only be Joe Biden.
They rigged the primary so RFK couldn't run. Nobody could campaign in half the states. They took their name off the ballot. And then they rig it for Joe Biden, and then they threw out those votes anyway. And the coup, as Jim Gaffigan said, there's no bigger Democrat voter than Jim Gaffigan. Even he said it. There's nobody that hates Trump more than Jim Gaffigan. Over to Steph.
All right. I still don't get why she was laughing at the border question. Because
that's her go-to.
I mean, it's such a serious issue that she still doesn't know how to not laugh at such a serious issue.
That's all she knows how to do.
bring up how Trump is stupid every time somebody asks you a question.
Right.
But you can't take his thing, build the wall, which just saying build a wall indicated racism. It was comedians have it as a joke to be ironic. They would go build the wall just to be like, hey, imagine I was some racist saying this. Like people still remember that even if they're stupid.
Right.
So here is Kamala.
Oh, back to Jimmy.
So here is Kamala's. It did not go well, her town hall. We just showed you her horrible answer to the border wall question, which she contradicted everything Democrats have been saying for 8 years.
What town was it?
I don't know. Where did they hold
wears
this?
a mask town is what I imagine.
Is it Philadelphia?
Maybe Philadelphia. So here we go. Watch this. He asks, have you made any mistakes?
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life or in your life in the last 4 years, that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean,
Spoiler alert, no. Spoiler alert, no, there isn't. It should be how bad she is at answering questions about mistakes. That's her first mistake. But
also, Jimmy, she's never done anything as the vice president.
She's right.
How can you make
That's right. How are you going to learn from not doing anything? But here we go.
Think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes.
Name one.
Oh boy.
Name one.
And they range from, if you've ever parented a child, you make lots of mistakes.
But
too.
You've never parented
Again,
a child.
she starts laughing. No one's laughing with her.
Wait, she never parented a child.
And
right?
she never parented a child. She never parented a child. When she married her current husband, he had 2 kids that lived with his ex-wife. And they were already 15 and like 20 years old. So she didn't parent anybody. If you've ever parented a child, she starts laughing.
She didn't make them curry and grits on Sunday morning from Auntie.
Her whole thing is to laugh, and then people nervously laugh with her. And normally, but not this crowd. This crowd is not. This crowd actually is a neutral crowd. I don't know how CNN screwed up and got a neutral crowd in there. I can't believe Kamala Harris didn't bust in a crowd.
I bet they weren't neutral before they got there.
So here we go.
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life or in your life in the last 4 years, that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes.
Name one.
And they range from, if you've ever parented a child, you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
Okay.
What? That's the equivalent of saying, I'm too hard on myself with deadlines. I really work too hard. I'm too conscientious. I need to learn how to relax and let things. That's what that answer is.
Like the interview in Train Spotting, he was like, "I'm too detail oriented" because he's all hyped up on.
Yeah.
She said, "Is it a mistake that she's became well versed in policy?"
She says it's a mistake to answer a question if you're not well versed. I became well versed. What?
Yeah, I learned.
So I'm well versed now. I've learned how to. I'm really good.
I thought the mistake is being well versed, and she learned to giggle like an idiot.
Here, this is remarkable. So I'm going to play it again.
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life or in your life in the last 4 years, that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes. And they range from, if you've ever parented a child, you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
What? Hey, any mistakes as a prosecutor?
Yeah, maybe it was a mistake to keep those prisoners imprisoned, even after I was ordered by a court 3 times to let them out of prison. It was a mistake to keep them in prison for the slave labor they provided, because that's what her office said in court. We didn't release those prisoners. Maybe it was a mistake to lie and say that you listened to, what did she say? Who did she say she let? Tupac. Tupac when she was smoking pot in college, because Tupac wasn't around. Maybe it was a mistake to imprison was it a mistake to imprison mothers of sick children for their children being truant because they were in the hospital with sickle cell anemia? Single black mothers, was that a mistake?
Oh, I thought that was the parenting mistake of those black mothers, is what she was describing. You shouldn't have had a sick kid. Hey, maybe it was a mistake to be a Veep level idiot and go straight to Steve Carell on The Office idiot.
Was it a mistake to lie to people that Joe Biden wasn't demented and then coup him after he fell apart at the first debate against Donald Trump?
Was it a mistake you never went to the border?
Was it a mistake you never went to the border? Was it a mistake to have open borders?
Or not to want a wall, and now you want a wall.
And now you want a wall.
Or to be against fracking, and now you're for fracking.
What about, was it a mistake to be for Medicare for all, and now you're against Medicare for all? Was it a mistake to be against fracking, and now you're for fracking?
Or promising no tax on tips because the people that prop you up are not for that, and then you're not going to do that, or at least walk it back. Remember, she copied that.
Yes.
Then all the shit lib magazines. Well, that would be unfair because all Americans wouldn't have a.
Yeah.
Remember that? They're trying to argue against the most obvious thing to reverse what Reagan did.
Was it a mistake to move from Oakland to Canada and then come back and not talk about it? Is that a mistake?
Was it a mistake to be... Yeah. Wow.
Was it a mistake to pretend one of your house servants was your grandmother to seem blacker?
Was that a mistake to fake your grandmother?
I don't think so, but I'm asking.
Was that a mistake?
I say, I do the same exact thing myself. I go, this is my grandma.
That's my grandma.
You see? I'm entitled to stuff solely based on that.
Over to Steph.
All right. She hit it out of the ballpark again, ladies and gentlemen.
They're going to have to blow up the world now to prevent Trump. Do you understand how bad this is? She couldn't even pull this off.
She couldn't pull it off in friendly fire.
Get ready for an earthquake or a hurricane. That's my advice.
A great analogy to Kamala is Peter Sellers' character Chauncey Gardner in his last movie being there. I thought Joe Biden was that, but no, he's not. He could be the director of the movie. She's like pure Chauncey. Kinky says, what happens if you take money from AIPAC and then give them the middle finger once you're elected? Epstein? Kinky too. Kinky, I was thinking about that the other day as well. Moist. This is it. Does this say moist? Critical. I think you mean most critical.
No, Moist Critical is the name of a guy with a YouTube channel.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why they're bringing it up on this show.
Well, it says Moist Critical put out a video about a 14-year-old boy who recently killed himself due to convincing from his AI chatbot girlfriend. What the flip?
What? Wow.
Whoa.
Wow, we're well into the Kali Yuga.
Oh, my God. Jimmy, are you concerned that these tech oligarchs that back Trump, like Peter Thiel, Mark Anderson, Elon Musk, all believe in this transhumanist, techno-capitalist vision for the future? Kikatwas.
Yeah, there's no getting out.
Jimmy.
The world as you know it is ending. We're living in a mixture of 1984 and a brave new world. And there's no getting out of it unless you have a full-fledged revolution in this country, which is not going to happen. You can't even get people to support a union at Starbucks half the time.
If they released all the evil secrets of America and America experienced an ego death, I bet that would fix it.
You can't even get the people who consider themselves liberal to be for the First Amendment and free speech. You can't even get the people who consider themselves liberal to stand in solidarity against a slaughter of a defenseless population in Gaza. You can't even get people who consider themselves liberal to stand in solidarity with them. You can't. And now
I do like, yeah.
And now they bend themselves into pretzels to support Kamala Harris, who now says she's for the border wall, and they say they're for Kamala Harris because Trump's going to be worse for immigrants. What?
Yeah. Here's one good thing about the controllers competing. Like, you don't get to see competition in your life. That's above your head. But within the deep state and the shadow government, a lot of competition. They're hardcore eugenicists, so they believe in the survival of the fittest. So the competition there is making all the narratives crash. So now people have to deal with more cognitive dissonance than they ever have that I can remember, where you got to hold these things in your head like they're real, and it doesn't work. And you're watching people have nervous breakdowns about it. The Israel thing's amazing because, dude, there's nobody who could vote for that's not going to be like, no, Israel could do what it wants.
So people who
no candidate.
People who call themselves liberal, and I go, so you don't stand in solidarity with the Palestinians as they're being slaughtered with your tax dollars? And they say Kamala Harris isn't president of the Middle East. That's what they say. Yeah, but she's funding it.
Well, she should be because the money we spend.
She should be. That's right. Because
hey, you know what? How about they could do what they want, and they're going to take, it don't matter who you vote for. Your money's going to that.
Can you imagine?
So how about I can say whatever I want about it? How about that? Since my money's going either way, stand with, you mean on Twitter you're going to say some shit? Is that what you mean by standing with? What meaningless nonsense to say you stand with anything. Your money's going to that. You have zero choice, and democracy doesn't come into it in any way. We can all say what we want about it. It's
just amazing how propaganda has worked to a T.
Yeah.
On at least half the country, if not more.
I want to get that clip of the guy when wrestling, WWE came out and said we script the matches. And it's a famous viral clip of a guy going, "It's real to me, damn it."
Yeah.
And I want to play that every time I watch someone get emotional as if this shit's real, when it really, does it even matter what we say, dude?
January 6th, it undermined democracy, Kurt. You know, the democracy that was taken from you decades and decades ago? It was all great.
Democracy doesn't even, I'll bet you at this point, democracy, they're referring specifically to the oligarchs that decide how it's going to be.
That's right.
And that's what they mean. So Putin's an autocrat because he doesn't have oligarchs weighing in. And Xi Jinping is an autocrat because he is literally in charge. And what we do is pretend the president is in charge. So Biden's the reason we're in Ukraine. No, he's not. He's a guy that's going to tell you how it is from the oligarchs, and you elect that, like the front-facing avatar of their will, and then he gets blamed if it's him or not. But he's a doddering, senile old man. You think he's really making decisions?
Okay, so this is a real headline from the New Republic. Trump cancels all his events in favor of one of the worst people ever. You mean the most popular talk show host in the world? Do
you have the bits on it?
Yeah. Trump cancels all his events in favor of one of the worst people in the world. Donald Trump will be sitting down with Joe Rogan. Worst people. Have you guys never heard of Benjamin Netanyahu?
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, surely Rogan isn't as evil as Oprah.
Yeah, not by a mile. This is like Diddy Party people that think he's the worst person.
But when I think of the ancient line of antichrist figures throughout history, of course, there's Genghis Khan, there's Pol Pot, there's Hitler, but they all have to take a knee to the highly successful podcaster out of Austin, Texas.
How do you screw up this bad and then blame the guy who's just doing the thing you could be doing, but you stop doing it because you're a shill?
Hey, New Republic, it's not your job to decide who the worst people in the world are. That's Keith Olbermann's job, and the guy needs work.
Yeah, I want to know where Keith Olbermann stands. I want to see what color of glasses frame he wears while he says it. Then I'll decide.
Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's one of the worst people in the world. What did Joe Rogan ever do?
Well, ever. That's not the world. You're only thinking that's like in history. That's four-dimensional. The world's just ever in history.
He hosts a popular podcast people like. He was right about
one of the worst.
And he was right about COVID. He beat COVID in like 24 hours. Oh my God.
Dude, think of how mind-blowing this is. Joe never even made a mistake about what he was saying regarding COVID.
Yes.
The times they said he was mistaken. No, he was right.
He was right.
people that weren't against him that said, no, actually it's this, they were wrong.
That's right.
So how did Joe Rogan, the worst, one of the worst people ever, how is he 100% right on every part of COVID, but you're not, the people in charge of that? How does that work?
After backing out of several major interviews at the last minute, Donald Trump has one last major appearance on the horizon, the Joe Rogan Experience. The Republican presidential nominee will be meeting with the former Fear Factor host on Friday. It'll be the first time that Trump has appeared on Rogan's podcast. Wow. Former Fear Factor host. Is that why he's the worst person ever?